Welcome back, horror family. The Ruins is a fantastic film about hopelessness in a foreign land. Its characters surrounded by a monster that gradually incapacitates its victims mentally and physically, creating a beautiful blend of paranoia, anger, distrust, and abandonment. The movie creates an atmosphere that places the audience directly along its protagonists, who are held in the grasp of a vicious plant looking to consume them alive. We find 6 youths on vacation in Mexico, trekking off the beaten path in search of a remote archaeological site. When they arrive, they find a flora-covered Mayan temple. After stepping on the cursed land, they are forcefully confined by a group of locals by the threat of death. As they sit at the top of the ruins planning their strategy for escape and pondering their circumstance, each member is viciously attacked and devoured by the ivy-like tendrils covering the temple, revealing that the reason they have been quarantined is to prevent the spread of this carnivorous evil weed. What was this plant that the locals were preventing to be released beyond the boundaries of the area? What type of plant has the capability and predatory instincts to mimic human and electronic sounds, ultimately pushing each individual to their demise? Let us consider that maybe it wasn't a plant at all. The type of behavior we witnessed in the movie is not atypical even for flesh-eating plants, but the behavior can be associated with that of an insect. There are many insects in nature that utilize camouflage to mimic plant species, and have evolved special techniques of sounds and perforated secretions to disarm their prey. The development by insects in plant mimicry is known as homorphy, involving important changes in morphology dating back in the fossil record as far as the Mesozoic era. Maybe at the center of the temple, when Stacy and Amy descended the shaft to help Mateus, they ventured closer to the creature's primary cavity, and that is why the vines aggressively attacked the girls when they tried to venture deeper in. Or, overall, it could be similar to that of a mega-colony structure, like army ants, with thousands or millions of individual tendrils operating as a cohesive unit, each with the ability to implant spores in their host to create increasing generations to overwhelm prey. It also could be that the Mayans were afraid of the temple, for they knew there was a larger presence at hand. The temple could possibly have been a worshipping ground and resting spot for a primordial Mesoamerican deity, Toltecutli, sometimes referred to as Earth Monster. In the Aztec creation story of the 5th cosmos, Toltecutli's dismembered body was the basis for the world, an anthropomorphic being with splayed arms and legs. She has to be kept satiated by human sacrifices to ensure the continuation of the earth. In the creation mythology, the gods Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca descended from the heavens, finding Toltecutli near the ocean. They decided that the 5th and final cosmos could not prosper with such a fiendish creature in the world, and during a battle ultimately ripped Toltecutli in half. Possibly the Mayans knew that this was a temple created by the Aztecs with false features to hold a raging piece of the goddess, demanding blood and flesh in the form of a vicious carnivorous plant. It is also possible that the land could have been cursed by another spirit, one with roots in historical legend. La Malinche was a Nahua woman from the Mexican Gulf Coast who helped the Spanish conquer the Aztec Empire, acting as a translator and advisor to conquistador Hernan Cortez. She was born around the area of Aztec Valley of Mexico and Maya states of Yucatan Peninsula in a group holding political influence called Nahuas, though they called themselves Mexicas. Also known as Malintzin, named after the goddess of grass. Following the death of her father, Malinche's mother remarried, later bearing a son, and Malinche was sold into slavery. Her family faked her death in the town they lived in, and she was sold to Chantal Mayans, where she learned their language. Following war factions between Mayas and Mexicas, Malinche was given as tribute to the Tabasco, where she developed fluency in many languages. During the arrival of Spanish conquerors, she was given as a present by the Tabasco, and due to a friendship she developed with the Spanish priest, quickly earned the Spaniards' trust, holding a special position in Spanish expeditions. According to records, Malinche learned of a plan by the natives of the Cholula to cooperate with the Aztecs in order to destroy the Spanish army. She alerted Cortez to the danger and pretended to cooperate with native informants, while Cortez plotted to trap the Cholulans, ultimately slaughtering them all. Because of this, her portrayal in Mexico is that of an evil scheming temptress, embodying plotting treachery and deceit. The story of La Llorona is based on Malinche, but what if after she died, her body was returned back to that of the native land from where she came, and the Mayan locals, afraid of retribution by the spirit of La Malinche for being sold to Mayan slavers, built a temple over her resting place. Thus, the goddess of grass bloomed into an incarnate representation of consumption and vengeance. In the film, we see Mayan villagers salting the ground around the temple to prevent the plant from escaping. This is a common practice in religions around the world to ward off or capture evil. The archaeological dig could be the unmarked grave of vengeful temptress, angered at the people of the land for putting her on a path that resulted in betrayal and slaughter. Her rage-filled essence blossoming into a viney weed of hate, with beautiful red flowers sprouting to tempt and induce disarming effects on her victims. Whatever the plant in the ruins is, I can rest easily knowing it is secluded in an isolated region of a Mexican valley, with dedicated tribesmen guarding its escape. But if you have ever seen the alternate ending, you would know that at the headstone of Amy's grave, the evil sprouts, and the carnivorous monster has escaped its South American confine to wreak havoc on the rest of the world. Maybe our fate is destined at the hunger of a vicious flora, leaving the world in ruins. What do you think the plant was from the ruins? Was it a hungry creature out for survival, or was there more malign intentions behind it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments section below, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Stay scared.